report. What's up? BBW, what's going on? Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Happy Monday to y'all. Appreciate y'all coming in. Yo, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Good. I'm just going to give everybody just a few more minutes to come up in here. We're going to get going. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ortez, what's up? Juice Baby, I see you. Oh, thank you for the Rocket Man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes. Travel. Thank you for the, like I said, hope everybody's had a great Monday so far. We're about to get started here in just a couple minutes. Blake, Christy, what's up? Andy, thank you very much. Maybe about 2 or 3 more minutes. Hope everybody's, like I said, had a great day so far. It's been a crazy weekend, I'm sure, for a lot of people, and hope everybody's able to be refreshed and relaxed and all that good stuff. Love that rocket, by the way. Like another minute or two and we'll get started. Guys, thank you so much again for joining us on this beautiful Monday night. There's a lot of awesome stuff going on for the app and things like that. So, but yeah, guys, we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Blake, thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, so we got I think, let's see, Travel's here. Juicy's here, so we'll go ahead and get started. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. So, we'll go ahead and get started. Guys, thank you so much for being here. This is a show that we do every single Monday night. It's called Gratitude, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The show is about finding people who wish to show more thanks during their life. Each week's guest, we recall, circumstances, people, memories that have humbled them to help them reflect and grow through the act of gratitude. So this is what we do every single Monday. And again, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. Happy Monday again to everybody. Wanted to also give a shout out to Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I know he was such an inspirational and important person in the civil rights movement and nonviolence and activism and things like that. And so just wanted to really just bring a great little shout out to him and what that certainly and that holiday certainly means to so many different people and things of that nature. Also, before we get started, guys, just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Perfect Flaw. She actually used to have an official Meet Me show as well. It was called Love is Blind. I know that she's dealing with some health issues and things like that. So we certainly want to continue to keep her in our thoughts and our prayers as she's struggling and going through some things in her personal life off the app. And, just want to let everybody know that she's, got a page if anybody wants to help donate and things like that. So like I said, we're certainly trying to keep her in our thoughts and prayers and just want to continue to be there for her in whatever way that we can be. So, guys, just wanted to, again, thank you so much for being here. This is a show that we do every single week. I just love to start out the show with an amazing quote. This week's quote, guys, is, "But a role model provides more than inspiration. His or her very existence is confirmation of possibilities one may have every reason to doubt, saying, 'Yes, someone like me can do this.'" Guys, let me read that one more time. "But a role model provides more than inspiration. His or her very existence is confirmation of possibilities one may have every reason to doubt, saying, 'Yes, someone like me can do this.'" Guys, it's pretty awesome. That certainly hits a little bit different for me. I mean, we all try to start out the new year in a positive way and certainly want to be very appreciative and grateful for what we're doing, this year. And 2020 was a struggle and a tough thing for so many different people. And we just want to kind of start this year off right. And so, guys, we had a great person on last week. Her name was Rian Higgs. She's also got another show on Meet Me on Tuesday nights, and she shared the cherished memories of loved ones and how much her mother meant to her and her life and things like that. And so what we wanted to do was we just wanted to get started with that this week and, again, talk about cherished memories of loved ones. And we wanted to we got 2 amazing special guests this week, guys. At the time, we want to request Travel Bay up in that box. And as she's getting up in here, guys, thank you so much for just supporting what we're trying to do. There's so many wonderful different shows of content on the app. There's cooking shows, there's dating shows, there's gratitude, there's talent shows and things like that. So certainly if you have a chance to try to support any of these people, certainly try to take the time to do that, even if it's just for a few minutes. A lot of these people put in a lot of time and energy and effort into what they're trying to do and create content for the app. And, if we can just certainly try to support them as much as we can, that's certainly important. So guys, at this time, we're just going to welcome Travel Bay to the box. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, how are you today? Happy Monday.
Same to you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for being here. I hope everything's been good for you today. Hope you've had a great day, a great weekend. Hope everything's just amazing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It was okay.
Yeah, right. Well, you know how Mondays can usually be. Those Mondays are just kind of crazy and, work and all that stuff. So we're certainly trying to, have the best attitude that we can and create, some of the wonderful, memories and opportunities on Meet Me that we can. So, just kind of, if you want to just introduce yourself to everybody, just kind of share whatever you'd like to share, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, the floor is certainly yours.
Hi. Well, first I want to say again, thank you so much for having me. I am very honored to be here. Again, of course, everyone knows my name is Travel Bay. I'm new to the app. I've been on here since the end of November. I'm absolutely loving the platform. I've enjoyed meeting so many wonderful people. And I'm convinced that I was brought to this app for a reason and a purpose, and I'm just happy to be here to fulfill it.
Well, I know we're all certainly glad to have you here. I'm certainly glad to be here along with all the amazing people that are here watching and things like that. I think the app is certainly a wonderful platform, like you said, to have so many wonderful relationships and cultivate, the friendships that we have each and every single day. I think that a lot of people don't realize that certainly all the people in our life are certainly important and they bring so many wonderful things to our life on a daily basis. And I think that sometimes that goes very overlooked, with us streaming and things of that nature. But, again, thank you so much for being here. Last week's topic was cherished memories of loved ones. And we always like to have people reflect on what that means to them. And certainly, what does that really mean to you as far as when you hear that cherished memories of loved ones?
For me, I think when I think of cherished memories of loved ones, I just think of trying to preserve the moments that you share with someone and appreciating the time that God loaned you with that person. Mm-hmm. So I'm always really big on telling people to write things down, take pictures. I always try to be present because you never know when your last moment will be with that person. And you can look back and look at some memories and be like, oh my goodness, I remember those pictures. I remember these laughs. I remember this moment, and just try to be present with everything. Yeah. So for me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people forget that pictures are so, just a wonderful reflection of someone in that particular point in their life. You look at that baby photos, or you look at old school photos of yourself or family members, and it's like, when you look at that kind of stuff, it brings such a smile to your face and a joy because you remember that moment in time, and you remember, the people that were with you and were with you through the whole thing. And it's just like, wow, you look at this and you're just like, man, this is amazing. As you, kind of go a little bit into memories of cherished loved ones that you have, is there any particular person that comes to your mind that you'd like to share or talk about that would kind of, bring a little bit of a light to those memories?
Yeah. So I was married to my junior high school sweetheart. I started dating when I was 12. Right. I got you. And he passed away 3.5 years ago. Ooh. So he's my little girl's dad, and he wasn't a big picture taker, but I love pictures. I've always loved pictures since I was a child because my mom was really big on making things for us, like blankets, and everything was pictures. Everything she'd make us every year of school. We'd have pictures for the whole year, and every Christmas we'd have all these memories. And so he wasn't big on pictures, but I was. And so most of the pictures that I made him take, he wasn't smiling, but I'm thankful that I pushed him to do that because now that my daughter's 13, that's what she has to remember him by. So she has all of these pictures with her dad at every single cheer competition, every single school activity, every single thing of her life. So I'm just glad that I was always present and pushed him to do that, even though he wasn't a picture taker, because I think, like I said, again, you never know when you're going to lose someone. Right. So being able to look back at those memories is like the most important thing. So take the pictures, smile, and be present. So that's like my biggest thing for him.
When she goes through, like you said, the cheerleading competitions and things like that, and she looks at the pictures, what really do you see in your daughter's eyes that light up, or what does she really share with you as far as what her dad really meant to her? Because like you said, I mean, all she can really go on is photos, stories that you share with her, memories and things of that nature. What do you really see in her, being your offspring and your daughter and knowing how much, you love and care for her? What do you really see with her as far as, the reaction or the response that she has to, things about her dad?
Well, I know how important it is. So every competition, I make her something new with this picture. So she's there with her. And I remember her first competition she had after he passed. So she has a competition every May, and he passed in May. So she had to skip that competition. And so the next competition, which was 2 months later, I made her an umbrella. And it had they said raindrops are God's tears from a loved one. And I got the words put on the umbrella. So crazy enough, this is a true story. That morning of the competition, it rained the entire time because she wanted to get in the pool and she couldn't. So she was so down and out about, I can't believe it's been raining the whole day. And in my heart, I'm just so full because I'm thinking like, oh my God, like this is a perfect gift. Yes. And so we walk outside. We'll start crying. So we walk outside and I hand her the umbrella and she opens it up and her whole face just lights up. And she was like, oh my God, this is why it's been raining. And so it wasn't a picture, but it was just the words for her to understand like what it means to always have him present. And so I remember that competition, they were so nervous and they were on the floor right before the competition. And she told all of her friends, she's like, listen, there is no need to be nervous. She's 10 at the time. She tells her friends, there's no need to be nervous. It's been raining all day. My dad is here and we're going to win. And they actually won first place, which they always do because they're really good. But it was just really like, it touched me that she sees these memories and remembers things about him and his presence. And so even in that moment, even though he wasn't here, she felt like he was. So
right. And see, that's really important because like you said, she felt that. Mm-hmm. She knew that was something that really encouraged her going through something like that. I mean, because competitions are crazy. They're competitive. The limelight's on you, even if it's the cheerleading thing of things of that nature because you have other people around. But it's like, the lights are on. It's showtime. It's time to go and things like that. And so for her to have that motivation of thinking of her dad, thinking of her father, and how much not only did it mean to her, but how much he meant to you and your relationship and your marriage and things of that nature, that's something that she will never be able to forget, something that she'll always be able to look back on, like you said, with the cherished memories of him and things like that. That's something that she will always be able to look back on and be like, wow, that was my dad. This is, something that I'll always be able to really reminisce and really get, just that in her mind and just, be very appreciative and grateful of that.
Yeah. So now every time it rains, she always looks at me with this smile and she's like, it's kind of like.
But see, that's always, but I mean, like you said, the umbrella's there and it's got that wonderful inscription on it. And, that's something that, as she becomes even, my age or your age or whatever, that she can still look back on that and be like, wow, I remember that as a kid. And, that's so much of a reflection to my dad and things like that. So that's really wonderful. And I certainly just appreciate you just sharing that because, it's certainly different. Like if you didn't have kids, because that would be all the memories that you have of just him. But the fact that you do have children, and the fact that you can share so many things that, he's not here and, she can just go on things like that is certainly very rewarding and very, satisfying for her, even at such a young age, that she can just remember, who her dad was and how much, he really meant. As we kind of like touch on that a little bit more and kind of touch on your relationship with him, what are some things that you really remember so fondly of him and y'all's relationship that really just kind of sticks out, that kind of says, wow, that was our marriage. That's what kind of summed up, what I'm really grateful for and appreciative of. What are some opportunities or some things that you are certainly comfortable with sharing? We dated since I was 12 off and on, and he passed away when I was 37. So, that's pretty much the majority of my adult life. And so, it's like every single memory is attached to him, like prom and birthdays and weddings and my friends' weddings and just every single thing that's accompanied with home, because we're from the same hometown. Mm-hmm. It's just a good, and of course, like to me, when you think of your hometown, it's just like that warm feeling like, oh,
like, because those are the people that were with you from the beginning. And so any memory that I have, I share with like my friends from home and like my family. So it's everything. Like, sometimes it's hard to, like, I talk about him so much, and sometimes I like try to stop myself, but it's like, it's impossible because he was a part of so much of my life. Yes. So every single memory, like everything I can think of, there's like a memory attached to it with him.
Yeah. That's awesome. Guys, if you're new here, just want to take a quick time to let you know this is a show we do every single Monday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's called Gratitude. We have two amazing guests this week. At first, we're talking to Travel Bay. She's an amazing person. She's sharing such a wonderful story about cherished memories of her loved ones, which in her case was her husband, and so many things that she's sharing. And we just want to, again, thank you for being here. We want to welcome everybody, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So, you know, a lot of people don't know this, or, you know, some people that really support me, and you probably didn't even know this either, but I actually in the funeral home business. So that's what I do for a living. I actually am a funeral director. So, you know, I certainly deal with those kind of things on an everyday basis and things of that nature. So I certainly see the reaction to how people feel about losing someone and things like that. You see on people's face, you see in the grief, you see in the reactions of how much that particular person that passed away meant to them. And it's certainly such a joy to be able to talk with someone after a little bit of time has passed, because, you know, as I see them and deal with that on, you know, a personal level, I don't necessarily see the after effects, you know, as much. I see what's going on right now, which is not necessarily a reflection of that person's relationship with their family and things of that nature. You know, it just shows that they're dealing with the loss and the grief and things of that nature. But like you said, for you, you have so many wonderful memories and so many, you know, cherished things that you continue to can continue to pass on to your daughter and things of that nature. And I certainly just, you know, commend you for that, because, you know, I see, like I said, I see so many people struggle with grief on a daily basis, and to be able, you know, I'm sure that you still have your tough moments and days where, you know, it's hard for you to kind of get it together. But, you know, like you said, your faith helps you get through some things, you know, having your daughter there, being able to know that that's certainly a legacy that's going to live on, you know, as a representation of him, and certainly as you as a mother, and the things that you certainly try to instill in her and cherish with her every single day is certainly just a wonderful thing. And I know that you are very appreciative and grateful for that every single day.
Yeah. And it's funny. I had no idea that that's what you did. One of his classmates is actually a funeral home director. He's actually the person that handled his service, which was mind blowing in itself, because they've been together since they were in kindergarten. Right. And I'll never forget how delicately he handled the situation. Like, I think you guys are like, literally, like, you have to be in the right spirit to be in such a intimate moment with the person. And I just remember how he handled the situation and how he allowed me time with my husband when he passed. And I remember, like, when I was when I first walked into the funeral home just to view him immediately after his car accident, and I was talking to him, and I was in there for quite a while. And when I finished, I'll never forget it. I said to his friend, because I didn't realize he was behind me, and I said, "Oh, you must think I'm crazy," because I just been talking to him for the last hour. And he said, "No, I actually wasn't listening to you. I was praying." Yeah. And that's one memory I will never forget. I was like, wow, like, you know, to have someone who understood the relationship that we shared. So that's like such a job that you guys are angels, because you help families through such a tough time. And it's one of those things you never can prepare for. So having someone there that's actually sensitive enough to allow you to work through the process and not rush you is really important.
Right. It really is, because, you know, at the end of the day, I certainly take a lot of pride in what I do, and, you know, be able to help people in a tough time. I mean, I certainly have also lost loved ones in my own life, you know, and things of that nature. So when you're able to understand that you can also be very professional, but compassionate and caring, and to know that people appreciate that kind of stuff, it certainly at the end of the day lets you realize that your glass is a whole lot half full than it is empty. And I mean, like I said, you know, Meet Me is certainly a great platform for me, especially with what I'm dealing with every single day, you know, on a daily work basis. and to be able to come on here and be able to talk to so many wonderful people and be able to share so many amazing and beautiful stories like yourself. It certainly is very self-rewarding life for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I have a first cousin that was more like a little sister to me. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I talk to her every single day. We call each other twin. She passed away last Saturday of COVID. She was 32. So her funeral was Saturday. And initially when she first passed away, I was thinking like, is something wrong with me? Because I wasn't feeling anything, or at least I didn't think I was. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, maybe I've come to terms with grief so well that I am going to handle it differently. And of course, the day after, and I laid down, it was like, oh no, I'm not exempt. Like it was the same exact rush of emotions and everything. So as you're going through grief, you learn that it's different with each relationship, but it's still the exact same, because it's like I tell people, grief is the price you pay for love. So the more you love a person, the more you grieve them.
Yes. It's
impossible to lose a part of your heart so large and still be the same. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful in the grief because it just reminds me of how much I love that person.
Right.
And her daughter is 8 years old, which is heartbreaking to me because like she's 2 years younger than my daughter was. And at the funeral, she was like, do you know why I like to be around you so much? And I was like, no, why? And she says, because you remind me so much of my mom. And I'm like, Lord,
you about lost it right there, I'm sure.
Yes. I'm like, listen, I'm about to like lose it. But it just reminded me of like, sometimes God places a larger purpose on our life. And maybe me and her were so close throughout our like growing up, because he would need me to step in and help her in that particular role. And her being only 8 and able to recognize that she saw something of her mom in me just kind of confirmed to me that I have a larger purpose than even my own daughter.
Sure.
So it was a sad moment, but it was a moment for me that was like gratitude to God that he appreciates and loves me enough to have me present in a moment such as that. So.
Right. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to say in closing? Anything that you'd like to add to, such a wonderful story that you've taken the time to share with us? Because I certainly appreciate the time and the vulnerability on your part to really, go there, because, we don't always have certainly very deep topics like this every single week. But, sometimes it is nice to kind of get outside the iPad and the phone screen and get really vulnerable with people and let them see that we're all human. We all deal with things outside of, the square of this, and realize that we are still people. And we all still go through certain things in our life that can certainly, mold and shape us to who we certainly are today and where we want to continue to be.
Yeah. I always tell people I'm very transparent with my grief and my feelings, because I feel like we have to be careful not to always try to pretend to be so strong. And I feel like by being transparent and allowing other people to view my soul through my grief, it allows them to know that it's okay. And so even if you've never gone through it, I pray that when you do, because we all have to, I pray that when you do get through it, maybe something I've said sticks out in your mind to help you realize that you're not going crazy, that the way you're feeling is normal, and it's okay to process it. And it's not a Monday is this and Tuesday you're finished. So I really want. And I also talk about on my page a lot how a lot of people, 2020 taught us a lot. It was a really tough year. And I feel like New Year's Eve, we were all like, yes, we made it through and we survived and we'll be okay. Yes. But the reality is life is not going to stop. We're still going to go through things. We're still going to be challenged, and we're still going to suffer losses. But if 2020 has taught us anything, is that we can survive anything. Right. And so I just pray that as 2021 comes and things continue to happen, and it's undoubtedly so that we're going to lose more people, but that we continue to love on each other, be with each other, be positive to each other, because you never know who's sitting in your stream as their last stop. Like someone literally may be sitting in your stream contemplating something completely different, and something that you may say could stick out to that person and literally change their life or their attitude for the day. So that's just kind of how I try to move throughout the day. And I just challenge everyone on this app to kind of do the same. Like, it's fun to have a release from everything and have jokes and, have a good time, but just be mindful of, you never know who's sitting in your stream and who's going through what. So just continue to love on each other, be positive, and be there for each other.
Wow. What a great attitude that is. I certainly just wanted to take the time. Guys, if you get a chance, please favor this amazing person. I just wanted, again, thank you so much for taking the time, for being on my show. Thank you for sharing such a sensitive topic that is very, touchy for a lot of people, but for you to be so vulnerable and so open and so genuine. I just wanted, again, thank you so much for taking the time today. And I certainly hope we can continue to stay in touch for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Wow, guys, seriously, what a guest. What an amazing story that she just shared about her husband and how much her daughter and all that they have together. It's awesome. It's incredible. I can't even continue to come up with any more adjectives to describe such a vulnerable story that she shared. I mean, we don't always have topics like that every single week that are that deep, but wow, she is so incredible. And I just wanted to, again, thank you, Travel Bay, for that. Please, guys, hit her with a favorite. She is an amazing, incredible person, and I just thank her for being so vulnerable with us. Again, guys, if you're new here, this is a show that we do every single Monday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's called Gratitude. What we do is we find people who wish to show more thanks during their life. Each week's guest, we recall circumstances, people, memories that have humbled them, that helps them reflect and grow through the act of gratitude, and how certainly that is important for us. It's like, she said, we certainly all had a very tough and struggling year in 2020. But as the new year approaches, yes, some of the problems may still be there. Maybe some of the things that we're still dealing with may still be on the surface, but we can continue to be mindful and grateful and thoughtful of what we go through, and realize that there are a lot of positive, wonderful things in our life, and situations and circumstances can certainly change for the positive. And again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for taking the time. Again, there's so many wonderful shows and creators of content on the app each and every single week, Monday through Thursday. What you need to do, hit the live, guys. Look at the banners at the top. Like I said, there's dating shows, there's cooking shows, there's relationship shows, there's talent music shows. So guys, if you certainly take the time to find something that really benefits you and that you're looking for, you certainly will find something that so many people that are putting in so much time, energy, and effort in the work and in what they're doing. I think that you'll be certainly satisfied, and certainly just very proud that you at least stopped in just to say hey, or just to say, hey, look, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for putting in the time. Thank you for doing something different on the app. So guys, thank you so much again. This week's topic, guys, just to switch it up gears a little bit, this week's topic is role models. So you can certainly think about that. I know that we all have some role models in our life that are important. Maybe we're some role models to other people, but that's the topic we're going to be talking about and discussing this week. We also have an amazing guest as well. Her name is Juice Baby JoJo. You can request that box right now. We just have such a great conversation coming with her, I'm sure, as well. And I cannot wait to get into this. She did such an amazing job last week, and we'll get into that in just a second. Hey, Jude. Welcome. Happy Monday to you. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day to you as well.
Yes, you too. You too. Happy Monday, guys. I'm a Cancer. When we have topics like these, oh my God, I will cry. Okay.
Let's go.
I was sitting there like, don't cry. I cry at ET. So this is something that, it's easy for me to cry. I also lost my dad in 2018. So, it's a sensitive topic. So, well,
and see, that's the wonderful thing is like, we don't always get into super serious topics like that, but it is certainly a thing to talk about.
Important.
And to be, like you said, very important to be vulnerable and let people see that, hey, we're still human. We still go through things. Like you said, the stuff that you've gone through and things that she went through. It's certainly, important to be able to share that with people and know that we have people that will listen and be supportive in whatever way they can and be able to be vulnerable like that. So
very true.
Love it.
I agree.
Well, certainly switching gears, we're going into role models. That's the topic we're going with this week. Yes. And before we get into that, I certainly wanted to just congratulate you again on doing such an amazing job on Blake Premier's show last week. Love Quest, guys, every Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Juice was on there, and she also was very vulnerable. She killed it. She did an amazing job. And I just wanted to take the time to just, congratulate you on that, because I watched the entire show. Blake is certainly a really good friend of mine. And I just thought that you did just an absolutely phenomenal and fantastic job. And I just wanted to just give you a little shout out to that.
Thank you so much. Being on Blake's show was so wonderful. I'm so glad that people are taking the time to lend their voice towards these types of subjects, including your show. By the way, it's an honor to be here with you as well as alongside Travel Bay. It's so important, especially for this app, which I think a lot of people on this app kind of deal with mental illness or kind of depression, things of this nature. It's like so important to touch upon these subjects. So I'm glad, that we are doing that here.
Absolutely. So when you think of role models, what comes to your mind at first? What is something that really jumps out at you when you hear that term?
When I hear the term role models, I think of people who are in positions to pave ways for people to kind of like model the way they behave after. Mm-hmm. I know for me, I never looked at my parents as like role models per se, but I knew that they instilled in me certain things that I feel like would dictate my behavior. So my behavior would kind of be led by these core values or these core principles, So when I think of role models, I think of my parents first. They were so influential for my life, just kind of giving me like core structure in terms of like how I move. One of the things my dad instilled in me, I always say this, is to think for yourself. It's like my prized possession. If you can manage to think for yourself, yes, you will do so much better in life. And he gave that to me at a very, very young age. So I was so, I'm proud of, I was honored actually to tie it back into, the previous subject. I felt after my dad passed such an honor to have had my father as a father, you know what I mean? So there's like this honor of being there because he definitely was an awesome dad and he allowed me to kind of be the role model that I am today.
Yeah. It's certainly important because I think that a lot of times, friends of mine, I'm sure people as well, when they, maybe discuss their, parents in conversation that, people weren't necessarily as fortunate as probably you and I were to come from, a wonderful background of people that were able to raise us to have certain morals and standards and values that, you look at that and see that, people do, have that not necessarily a great taste in their mouth when they look at their parents. So like you said, for you to be able to have, that opportunity and attitude that, you're so appreciative and grateful for what they've certainly done for you and how you've turned out to be such an amazing woman today, it certainly speaks volumes, for where you were at and, where you want to continue to go.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
What do you feel like is something that was certainly important, maybe one or two things, like you said, that you learned from your parents that you'd like to touch on as far as, any particular, values or like you said, like the whole thought process of, thinking for yourself, because that's certainly important. I mean, you let somebody else do some thinking for you and you may end up somewhere completely different than where you want to be.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you'll start to listen to like the voices or the distractions of other people and kind of guide your decisions in life, not for yourself, but for other people. So that's why that's so important for me. My mother also, my mom is one of those people who kind of like, she had a moral code. Like, that's not right. And I think it's so important for people to have like a moral code. Like nowadays it seems as though like, people kind of like, they don't live by any rules at all. You know what I mean? They kind of just like, yeah, it's a free for all. So they don't have like a code of conduct on how you do things. I always say that there are like two types of people. Back in the day, we had CDs. Sorry, guys, I'm 39. But back in the day, I always say it's two types of people, like a person who like they borrow a CD and if they break it, they give it back to you broken or never give it back to you. Or the person, if they break it, they go get you a new one and then they give it back to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like my mom had that sense of like, hey, listen, if you ruin somebody's stuff, you borrowed it, you need to give it back to them and give it back to them in the same condition that you got it. So to me, those little things like that kind of give you the basis for how you interact with people and socialize and connect with people, And so I was super grateful for my mom because of that. I kind of like, I'm that person all the way through with whatever I'm doing. They say how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it was super like important for me to understand that.
Right. Yeah. I think regardless of, whatever your, religious background or anything like that, there are certain, standards and things like that, like, how you treat people is, I certainly try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I think that's certainly important. I think those are certainly values and morals that should be instilled in everybody. Like you said, it's just a normal human characteristic, like you said, from a role model standpoint, to do that, to set the example, to be a leader in people's lives and set, the road and pave it forward for people to see that's certainly important. And I think, like you said, it is really, when I look at my own personal self and how important, my family has been, role models are everything. They can help dictate to you your life and where you want to be, what direction you want to go, what kind of character you are as a person, what kind of company you keep, whether that's good or bad. And, that can certainly be a struggle for a lot of people in a lot of different ways if you don't have the right role models, or you look at a certain role model that maybe not necessarily is considered a role model by a lot of people.
Yes. Fact. That's a huge fact. For me, interestingly enough, I had a different alternative to like role models. Even though my parents were role models, I kind of was the first in my family to do a lot of things. I was the first to go to college. I was the first to own property. I was the first to get my master's. So what happened was I kind of developed my own sense of role model by collecting different people. And then saying, look, if I put all those people together and I admire those qualities and I love those qualities, then I can kind of come up with somebody that I admire for what they do and how they do it, So I kind of did that. I also use the dead a lot. Albert Einstein is like one of my role models. You know what I mean? Right now, Kobe Bryant is one of my role models. A lot, I think people can embrace the fact that you do not need to just have role models that are like super central and core to you, but you can use, role models however they come. You see what I'm saying? You look at their lives and you model yourself behind how they thought, their thought process, and whether or not you feel like that resonates with you. So I kind of did that in my life.
Right. Well, it's certainly important because, like you said, you don't necessarily have to know these people on a personal level.
Absolutely.
You just have to realize what's important to you and what they're certainly trying to set the standard for themselves and other people's lives and things of that nature. Because, like you said, for example, Kobe Bryant, tremendous competitor, certainly an amazing platform for, how famous and successful he was. Unfortunately that he passed away, even if he was still living today, he would still be such a huge role model in so many children's lives, even if they played basketball, even if they didn't, because a lot of people don't realize he did a lot of community work and things of that nature. So, that's certainly important, like you said, to have the right people as a role model in your life, especially as a child, because, children's minds are like sponges. Everything that they see or hear, they're just going to absorb it. And so, if it's the wrong situation, the wrong set of circumstances, that they're going to be affected in a negative way instead of a positive way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
Have you, kind of just switch gears a little bit. We've talked about role models and things of like that nature, and certainly people that you look up to. Do you consider yourself to be a role model, or do you consider maybe things in your life that can be viewed or as a role model type of way, or do you take a lot of pride in that, or how do you feel about that?
I do take a lot of pride in it. I'm of the perspective that anybody can be a role model. If anyone can tell someone how to navigate an experience that you feel like was hard, and you can come back and tell them, hey, this is not how you should do it. You should do it this way. Or, or here's the easier way. If you can kind of provide people that type of encouragement or motivation to get out of situations or free them from a situation that maybe you had gone through before, I feel like you're a complete testimony. And anytime you can be a testimony, you can be a role model in that way. Maybe your whole life is not, maybe your whole life is not perfect, but whose life is perfect? You know what I mean?
Fact. So preach, girl, preach. It's a Monday, but hey, we always welcome wonderful advice for sure.
But yeah, I do. Another person who was super influential to me was my aunt. She used to always tell me that you are smart, intelligent, special. She would make me recite that when I was young. So I kind of used some of the things. I kind of became her. As I got older, I became her. So when I'm interacting with kids in the neighborhood, I'm kind of like forcing them to give me the rundown on all these positive adjectives that they can, say about themselves. Yes. So I've done that in areas. I bought property in this location that kind of was underprivileged kids, and I kind of would talk to them and have them say encouraging things about themselves. And I did that one time to some neighbors, and they were like, 12 at the time. They were like brothers. They were 12 at the time. He's 21 now, and he still says the same words that I gave him at 12. So it's like you can literally change people's lives about how they look at themselves, how they feel about themselves. And your self-image is so important. Your self-image is, how people view themselves is so important to what they can do in the world.
I certainly, just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, I learned at a very young age, especially from my grandfather, that you're only as good as your name.
Yes.
And what people see in you, whether it be from a personality perspective, whether it be from a business perspective, if you just operate in a way that people see that you are honest, you're trustworthy, you're dependable. If you continue to operate that way, every single day, then that's how people, earn their respect. That's how people respect you. They certainly, value your word. They value that, maybe, Juice Baby has a lot of street cred. Maybe, something that she has a name to really go back behind what she's, saying to people. You practice what you preach and things of that nature. So I certainly learned that at a very young age from my grandfather, especially that, you're only, as good as your word. You are. It's certainly important to be around the company that you keep. I mean, you lay down with dogs, you get fleas, the kind of thing. And so, it's certainly important to surround yourself with the right people that are, not necessarily like-minded, but, that they all have the same vision of like, look, I'm trying to be a great person. I'm trying to be a successful person. I'm trying to respect people in my everyday, dealings and things of that nature. And I think that that's certainly really important, like you said earlier, that are just morals and values that people can certainly be grateful for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They say your vibe attracts your tribe. I always tell people, if you're trying to be a professional baseball player, you're not going to hang out with golf players that often.
Right.
You got to stick around, your people, your people, because it's a no-brainer that, you can actually feed off of the energy from the other people that, you're dealing with. So I agree completely, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Is there anything that, in particular, when you hear the role model as far as what you see in other people today, do you feel like that what, maybe women or young women or younger men, do you feel like that the things that they see now are great examples of role models? Do you feel like that's something that you feel like is not exactly the best definition, maybe from what you were growing up and what you thought as a role model? What's your thoughts on that? Maybe from TV, music.
I think now so many artists and celebrities and famous people have become the role models instead of the people in the community. Mm-hmm. I think also a lot of parents are disconnected from their own children. They're at work, so they don't even know what's going on with their own kids. I think this is problematic because just look at our testimony where we have parents. That we were able to be like, I can appreciate what my parents taught me, but now it's like, I think where we're getting our definitions of role models are kind of like, I don't want to judge it. I don't want to judge it, but it is drastically different for the millennials these days. They're kind of getting bits and pieces from people where they're not judging these people who are kind of like in high positions socially. And they're accepting them for who they are. But at the same time, you don't want to fall into like a distortion. You don't want to fall into like a place where you think certain things are acceptable and you don't have a code that you live by. That's why it comes back to me. For me, I'm like, you have to have a little bit of a code that you live by. Everything can't fly. Like you have to know who you are and know what you stand for and what you don't stand for. And I think because role models are anybody now, it doesn't matter what they do, as long as they do something that you like or as long as that you relate to them, then somehow they're role models. I don't know if I agree with that. You know what I mean? I think character is so important when it comes to that. And I'm talking about all around. Like, you want to deal with someone who has a character that stands the test of time, like when you're dealing with them, you can see that this person is a solid individual. I think those are better role models in my opinion, than versus somebody that you just relate to. You know what I mean? Because these things are kind of like anecdotal. It's like, oh, well, I have a story that you can relate to, so therefore I'm your role model. No, like I don't think you should take that stance. I think you should really raise the bar when it comes to your role models. Let them be people who have high moral fabric. Let them be people who have a character that you really, really admire. You know what I mean? That you can kind of obtain or seek to obtain and model after. Because if you don't respect them, then they're not role model status. It's got to be somebody you want to straighten up in their presence. You know what I mean? You want to straighten up in their presence. You want to do better in their presence. You want to excel in their presence. You know, so that's my opinion about role models kind of today and where it stands. It's just interesting to me because I just feel like, you know, nowadays Cardi B is a role model. I'm not taking anything away from a Cardi B. I think she's phenomenal. But at the same time, you want to just be mindful of who you want to be when you select your role models, who you want to be remembered as when you die. What do you want it to be? You know what I mean? How do you want it to look? So that's my personal opinion about, you know, role models.
I love it. I love the honesty because, you know, it's certainly important. I agree with you. I mean, I think that sometimes, you know, what we see on TV, what we hear on the radio or you know, iPads or whatever the case would be, may not necessarily be a reflection of who those people really are. You know, some people are selling brands. Some people are selling themselves as a brand. And, you know, if you're not careful and you don't tippy-toe around what you're looking at or what you fill in your mind with, you know, you can start focusing on the wrong things. And next thing you know, you end up over here and you're like, well, you know, what happened is, well, you know, you're focusing on the wrong things and you may have the wrong different definition of a role model. So,
absolutely.
You know, I think that we very much are in very similar agreement to that because, you know, like you said, these young kids are the next generation. We want to make sure that they look at the right people for the right reasons. Not saying everybody's got to be perfect.
Right.
But, you know, like you said earlier in the conversation, you have a certain, you know, moral compass and standards and things about yourself that other people are proud to look up at. And certainly, I mean, I certainly consider you one. I mean, you know, obviously we all are adults on this app and things of that nature. But, you know, there certainly are a lot of people that think a lot of you, think very highly of you. You know, I had people that just messaged me today and a few days ago when I was thinking about having you on the show. They're like, wow, she would be a great guest. She's a great person. She's a great speaker. And so, you know, even just on a small platform like an app, for people to have that opinion of you so highly, I mean, that certainly says a lot about you, not only as a streamer, but as a person and as a woman and as an individual.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing as far as, you know, about yourself, you know, what you're looking for, what you're continuing to want out of the app and things of that nature? I'd love to hear, you know, whatever you continue to share, because you've shared some amazing stuff along with Travel Base. This has just been an amazing night for sure.
Yeah, I like to share that. I think people think they seek perfection and think that they don't have testimony. I think it's so very important to understand that in order to operate on a post, like operating your purpose, you have value to bring, but you have to see that you have value to bring. Your entire life is value to others. Yes. You see. So I just feel like that's so important because I use my platform here, streaming on my stream, to bring value. No matter what I do, your value might be humor. Right. Your value might be dialogue. Your value might be intellect. Your value might be comedy. You have value. You know what I mean? Like, and even your life experiences bring value because it can help somebody. So I think that's just, I think people undervalue themselves too much. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. I don't think people think that what they bring to the table is a skill or attribute or a capability. They tend to undervalue themselves. So that's just my opinion, because what I like to do is no matter what I do on my stream, I have a very diverse stream because I'm dynamic like that. I'm just dynamic and I can do a lot of things. But what I do is I try to make sure I bring value every single time. You know what I mean? Bring a certain type of value every single time, but everyone can do that. It's not just me. It's not, it's not just Jamison. Everyone can do that. Right. So I think that's, well,
share. I certainly just thank you for such a wonderful story. I think, like you said, I think role model was a very amazing topic to have. I think that as we continue, even as adults, to surround ourselves with the right people, to look at the right people. And certainly, not only will we maybe try to impact their lives in a positive way, but certainly learn something from them to be able to put in our own life and be able to go in our own direction. So I just wanted to thank you so much for the time. Guys, please favor this amazing lady. Like you see what she brings to the table. You see what Travel Babe brings to the table. We've had such an amazing group of people, and I certainly thank you so much for taking the time, out of your busy Monday to be here and share some very vulnerable, wonderful things with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jamison.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right.
Wow, guys. Whew. What a show. What amazing guest. Well, I mean, we're setting the bar so high with content and people and what we're trying to do here. I certainly just want to, again, thank Travel Babe for sharing such an amazing story about, her husband and things like that and being so vulnerable. I just want to, again, thank Juice Baby for just being so amazing, talking about, role models and what we want our kids to see, what we as, adults and as individuals want to be and surround ourselves with the right people. So I think that we had two amazing guests this week. I certainly thank you guys so much for coming and supporting what we're trying to do every single Monday. Let's leave you with that quote again for the week. It's, but a role model provides more than inspiration. His or her very existence is confirmation of possibilities one may have every reason to doubt, saying, yes, someone like me can do this. Let me read that one more time in closing. But a role model provides more than inspiration. His or her very existence is confirmation of possibilities one may have every reason to doubt, saying, yes, someone like me can do this. Guys, that's how we're going to leave the show that we had. Absolutely amazing. So many wonderful people. I'm so glad to be able to offer this each and every week. Just to let you know, guys, next week's topic is friendships. If you're ever interested in being on the show, certainly hit me with the DM. Message me. We can certainly talk and have a real conversation. But like I said, next week's topic is friendships. That's certainly something we can all think about. Certainly, we have amazing friendships with people in our life every single day that we certainly value. Maybe they're role models as well. They can be amazing friends and role models. So you can certainly wear a lot of different hats with that topic. It's a very broad topic or a very generalized topic, but it certainly can be applied to so many different people. I know I have some amazing friends on this app. I've been able to cultivate a wonderful, amazing friendships and relationships each and every single day. And I'm certainly very grateful and appreciative of that. And I'm very grateful and appreciative of this amazing show that we can offer every single week. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for the guests being here. That's the show. That's how we do. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. About to do a quick post-show stream, getting back to how we usually are, listening to music, vibing, going live, things of that nature. Like I said, guys, thank you so much. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Woohoo! Let's go.